25-year-old Eric Suarez is Venezuelan and has been living in the United States for 6 years. In that time, he's embraced the country's traditional values.
It doesn't get better than this, I guess. I was raised with discipline, I was raised with kindness, with love towards where I was, with love towards certain values, family values. And I think that country culture, or Southern culture, embraces that very well. The more I learn, the more I immerse myself in that, the more I feel like it's mine too.
Behind his love of cowboy culture also lies the influence of one of the biggest political figures in American history.
Always been a Reagan fan. Since I learned that he was responsible in great part of the fall of the Soviet Union. I mean, for me, that's one of the greatest achievements that any president could have. I wish we had another great Reagan that comes and challenges China the way that he did with Russia and the Soviet Union.
Eric left Venezuela to study at Pennsylvania State University. He studied there for 3 years before moving to Miami.
As soon as I came to the US, you try to meet people and they tell you what kind of music you like. And everybody told me, oh, I listen to everything except country. I cannot stand country. And I was like, oh my God, okay, maybe country is not good. And I didn't interact with country for 2 years. Until at the end of my sophomore year, that's when I started to meet the college Republicans. They introduced me to it. And I just fell in love with it instantly. Everything's about trucks, horses, or heartbreaks. And you know what? I think that's a very encompassing of what life should be.
Today, Eric is attending a meeting of the Venezuelan Republican Club of Miami-Dade County. Just 2 years ago, this county was Democratic, but now its population is predominantly conservative.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Gracias, señor. Muchísimas gracias.
I grew up in a country that was destroyed by socialism, and when I came to the US, I started seeing that a lot of people in the Democrat Party value socialism, believe that socialism and communism were ways that were possible, that could bring benefit, and it drew me more into the Republican Party.
Religion is a big factor which pushes Latinos towards the Republican Party. Often Catholic, they are firmly anti-abortion and oppose the teaching of gender identities in public schools.
La fuerza de Estados Unidos oficialmente celebra la comunidad LGBTQ. Yo no te importa nada, todo el mundo tiene derecho a tener su vida sexual, pero yo no quiero que le pongan ese ejemplo a los muchachos y a los niños que vean eso como algo regular.
This view is shared by Cuban Americans, the other Hispanic diaspora in the region. Kiela Cabrera was born in the United States but has been working to liberate Cuba from its communist government since she was a teenager.
Because her family suffered.
No. Amazing. Thank you for coming.
She founded the Youth Resistance, an organization that sends humanitarian and financial aid to Cuban dissidents seeking to escape the Castro regime.
I studied international relations, and once I started seeing the human rights abuses happening inside of the island, I felt like it was time to act.
Cuba has been under an authoritarian communist regime for 60 years. Its government doesn't take criticism and violently represses any opposition. Today, Miami is officially recognizing the 20th of May as the island's Independence Day, in opposition to the official date proposed by Fidel Castro.
We currently have over 1,000 political prisoners inside of the island, as well as 60% of Miami-Dade County is comprised of Cuban exiles, with our families still inside of the island affected by an inability to have basic freedom.
1,900 kilometers from Miami in Houston, Texas, in a district nicknamed Little Saigon, lives the second largest Vietnamese community in the country. Lily Truong arrived in the United States in 1975 at the end of the Vietnam War.
This is my dad right here.
Lily's father was an officer in the North Vietnamese Army during the Indochina War. After fighting alongside the French, he fought with the Americans.
In 1972, There was a part of the middle part of the country was taken over by the communists, and then so they fought back. And, you know, my dad was among the people right here. Because of that, he received the Bronze Star.
On the walls of her house, images of a past that Lily has never forgotten.
We left Vietnam. My dad showed my mom and me the gun that he always carried with him. And he said that if he ever captured by the communists, the last bullet would be for him. But luckily, he able to make it out.
Her father survived, but several members of her family died in the Vietnamese communist regime's so-called re-education camps. After 50 years in the United States, Lily is completely Americanized.
So when you get the roast beef, this is potato salad, and this is paprika to make it pretty.
Her grandchildren, named Carter and Mia, speak only English, but other Vietnamese traditions, such as Catholicism, endure.
Let's do a little prayer
Yeah.
before we eat.
Okay.
Thank God for the food that we are about to eat.
Lily often thinks about what her life would have been like if she'd stayed in Vietnam.
We can come and president, you know, the good thing, the bad thing with no problem. But under communist country, if like in Vietnam, if you say anything about the Ho Chi Minh or whatever, you gone.
Back in Miami, we meet up again with Eric, the Venezuelan.
Luigi, acompaña a George como defense.
After politics, his other great passion is football, which is very popular in his home country. Once a week, he coaches children at a local school.
It's great to see them play around, but also like learn. And you know, when they're kids, there's a lot of things that are going on.
Eric learned to play football with his father in the streets of the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, a rare, happy memory in a childhood ravaged by the Hugo Chavez regime.
For my kids, I just want them to grow up, experience what these kids are experiencing, be happy, enjoy their life, just remember good things and spending time with the other kids, with their family. You know, that's the dream, right? That's why I'm here.
Born into a family of political dissidents, Eric had to flee Venezuela as a child and take refuge in Peru. The 25-year-old is eternally grateful to the United States, his adopted country.
He gave me a place to call home. He gave me a place that I know that I can stay for long, hope for all my life. You know, that's not the case in Venezuela. That hasn't been the case for my grandparents, my parents, because it was a very violent country. My family, there was always this constant stress.
His story is one shared with the majority of Venezuelan Americans, who are also forced to leave a country plunged into an unprecedented economic and security crisis. To feel closer to their homeland, Eric and his friends get together to eat some traditional food.
This is very Venezuelan, but I appreciate the fact that they always have events like this, both with Venezuelan culture, but also celebrate things like U.S. very important days.
Like Eric, Esteban and Franklin are first-generation immigrants, but that doesn't stop them from taking a tough stance on border policy.
Yes, we support immigration. We love Venezuela. We love Venezuelans. We know why they are escaping our country, but our allegiance is to the United States of America. So that means that we want the best to come here and do it in the right way.
In total, a quarter of Venezuela's population has fled since 2014, one of the largest migrations of the century. It's an exodus that Cuba is also experiencing, with 1 million people, or 10% of the island, fleeing between 2022 and 2023. Kiela Cabrera has strong links with this diaspora, and when she takes off her activist hat, also enjoys singing and acting.
Yo no quiero perderme de nuevo. Mira cómo me siento. Dale otra vez.
Yo vivo encima de un reptil disecado que juega con mi escasa juventud.
Kiela's friends are all artists and often of mixed race. Conventional wisdom would have us believe that they are progressive, but the reality is more complicated.
The Republican Party, they don't make race an object. I think that there are a lot of diverse people inside of that party that focus more on the value that they add and what they provide to society instead of using race as a scapegoat. They don't push certain ideological stances as much as the left, or rather extreme left, is at this point.
Both the Cuban and Vietnamese communities see the spectres of communism in the American left, which is why the majority of them support the Republican Party.
Hello.
Dạ, chào chị, chào anh.
Chị sẽ bọc cho em.
Lily chưa rồi.
Là cháu. Biết rồi, biết rồi.
Don't worry. My God.
Lát tham cũng bọc rồi, bọc cho.
Rồi, dạ. Thank you. Cảm ơn anh chị.
Lily Truong is running for office in Texas's 149th district.
Sometimes you can talk to people, sometimes you cannot. And you try your best.
There are 2 million Vietnamese Americans in the United States, making up 10% of the Asian community. Lily is hoping to reduce the cost of living and get Donald Trump re-elected.
My goal is to see the president that can do something for the country, to have more jobs for the people. And before, you see the gas is not like above $2. Now it's like $3 something, and then the inflation go up really bad. So this election is very important.
Kiela, the Cuban activist/artist, Lily, the Vietnamese candidate, Eric, the Venezuelan cowboy. All three first and second generation Americans, and all three as patriotic as direct descendants of the first settlers. Is it because they know the price of freedom? Well, two things are certain. They would do anything for this flag that has become their own, and they will be supporting Donald Trump in November.